Okay, we're going to try something else today. We're going to try to do 1 week of backtesting on the Nasdaq, and we're just going to see if a similar approach works. And the reason why I'm curious about this is because the spreads on these prop firms, including FTMO, the spreads on the Nasdaq are just like infinitely better. So let's see. I'm going to try to apply the same exact strategy, same exact ideas, and we're just going to see what happens. Can we make it not have a fucking D there when it's delayed? I guess we can't, because, you know. So I've heard that the NQ is more volatile, perhaps more irrational in some ways. Let's see if we bring up Forex Factory as well. And we go to February. This was just as far back as the computer would let me. We see that 16th of February was a bank holiday. Ah, okay. Well, then we're not trading it because the market never opened, and I only trade when the market is open. So that's kind of self-explanatory. All right. And we wait, and we wait. Then we have FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday, but no conference. We do have some higher impact news on Friday at 9:45 and 12:45. I kind of have this working theory that because the Nasdaq is more volatile, you would actually want to use higher time frames. It kind of makes sense if you think about it, because it's like you're more interested in trading trends. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. This is one way to that's one way to really speed up the replay. Okay, anyways, let's see. So Tuesday, normal day, no news. Jesus Christ, all that movement, even ahead of the. Alright, Tuesday. So that was Monday. Well, that was no Monday, I guess. Okay, we're beneath the previous day's low. We can mark that out. As well as previous day's high. Sure. We did SFP the low there. This is our current range. Overnight low. Overnight high. I'll draw them out. Okay. Do I see anything right now? No. I wouldn't say so. So coming into the open, we obviously had a lot of volatility already, but I'm still not going to trade during the open. I would say I kind of would like to long, like even just market long this. Like if there is crazy volatility, I actually feel like this is quite reasonable. But we'll see. Okay, so we do get crazy volatility. Aggressive move lower, higher, retest. Maybe this is the kind of thing that you do want to trade in the NQ. In the ES, I would never trade this retest ever, but maybe in the NQ it's worth it. So the market grinds higher, comes back lower, into support, goes straight through it. We did not take the overnight high. Now the question is, do we get some kind of clean setup? See, this would be, if this was the ES, I would be very happy to be taking this. In fact, I would target, I think it's quite safe to target that low. Yeah, nice. Because we had this attempt higher. I guess maybe you could argue that's not really the attempt. We had this attempt higher, attempt lower. That's clean. Okay, cool. And yeah, now I would definitely just go longing here, stop beneath here, TP. I think this is fine. We'll see what happens. Yeah, clean. I do wonder, like, because I've already traded this on the ES, and obviously I don't remember any specifics, but I remember that there was one day where you had this type of short setup. Hold on, I wonder, could we tab into the ES? Let's see. So this is the ES. I don't remember this price action specifically. Yeah, no, I don't remember this at all, actually. I'm trying to think, like, does this feel familiar somehow? But no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. We have this resistance there, which is this one, and then we would short the retest. Okay. Well, okay, I mean, for one day, we're doing quite well. I am also curious though about the liquidity of this market. Like, let's say that we were to go shorting there and have this 200 tick stop loss because the EA or the NQ is fucking huge, I guess. Let's say we want to risk 10k. We would be putting on 10 lots. 2k, 1k, 1.5k, 4k, 5. You could probably put on like 200 lots or something. So it's basically 1k per one lot. So if you could put on 200 lots, you can risk like 200k, which is a lot of money, fun fact. Yeah, okay, so I mean, it is decently liquid. And obviously it gets less liquid with time, but yeah. Okay, interesting. So we have a range. We're going back to the high of the range. I would not be shorting this. Some people might, but I wouldn't. We push, we push. We make a higher high. I would probably be longing this. Now we get that overnight high. And stopped out. I guess I anticipated the range breaking. That's a classic mistake. Yeah. Ah, and this is the real classic, is that you just get in too early. I feel like I've done this quite many times. Okay, never mind. I just did the exact same thing twice. Well, that's no more trading for today. I'm thinking also about the same logic, the same idea of like not trading except for during the first 2 hours. So you would stop trading, once it starts grinding higher here, you're like, whatever, there's no trade. You would just stop trading for the day. I think that could be potentially quite reasonable as well. But yeah, no more trades for today since I got stopped out. Doing two not very smart things. Honestly, I don't really know. I think I'm just tired. I think I'm just tired still. But yeah, I mean, I think this is good to do. I think it's good to widen your horizons a little bit. Just spend a little bit of time, sort of. Maybe the 1 minute is actually fine. Maybe the 1 minute is fine for the NQ as well. Because this was clean, and this was clean. Like, I think those two trades were really nice. Wait, hold on. It did actually register them, right? Oh my god, it didn't. Ah. Are you kidding me? Well, they're there. Oh, should I do it over just so that I can actually have them in there? Um, whatever. Whatever. Let's just see the next day. Okay, Wednesday. It's going to be FOMC at 2 p.m., but no conference. Let's see if I can speed this up a little bit. Okay, there we go. So let's see. What do we have? Daily. Okay. We took out previous day's high already. Let's make it a thick level. We do have these equal highs here as well as this gap. It's quite interesting. We have the overnight high and low. We do have a decent level here, but given we came so close, went higher, and then came back lower into it, I don't really love this level. We are still near the range high. I think range low for overnight lows might be reasonable. But let's see what happens at 9:30. Okay, market kind of shits itself. Goes higher. You do get the retest. Like, you could short here, stop above there. It's high risk, high reward. Okay, good thing we didn't. Well, we could have still potentially done it. I'm gonna go ahead and short here, and we're gonna see what happens. Okay, we just get stopped. Again, like, we didn't really see an attempt higher, so to be fair, it's kind of, you know, perhaps not that clean. We get above here. There isn't really, like, there's just this resistance ahead. There isn't really any reason to be actually wanting to long. Now we start breaking lower. Now I'm gonna come in here and go for another sell. Yeah, I mean, this was a mistake. I don't know why. I think it's because I don't really want to trade this market, because I just think that it's going to be worse. So I'm not really taking this as seriously. I should have obviously waited for it to move higher as well, right? Like, this was an attempt lower and it chopped. This was an attempt higher and it rejected. Now we retested this close like this. Like, I mean, I think this is pretty bearish. Nope. This is kind of what I'm scared of is going to happen in the NQ a lot. That wouldn't necessarily happen as much in the ES. I don't know. Okay, we just push higher. Would you want to long this? I guess you would have. I don't really feel like doing this, but I'll do it one more day. I'll do one more day. It's fine. To be fair, like, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low comes down, but immediately starts making higher lows. Like, maybe you could look to long here, with the argument being like overall structure. Like, we came lower, but it is kind of bullish. To be honest, now that I look at it, it just looks like low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, like it is actually just bullish. We broke structure higher here as well and stayed above it. And the target would be, you know, this gap here, this high, this high. The real question is like, would you long like here to go to there or to go to there or something? I mean, I think it's reasonable. Honestly, I don't think it's so bad. Whatever, let's just skip until the next day. I think I probably could get profitable at this market with enough time, but I just feel like, you know, ES. I like the ES. I want to trade the ES, but I mean, if this market ends up being as good, then like why wouldn't I trade that? You know. Okay, so anyways, we rejected that. Came back lower. Kind of in the middle of everything now. Let's just look on the hour. Let's see if we can find something. Okay, we have resistance here. Swipe that high, we have resistance there. Overnight high is here. Overnight low is just here. We have this pretty significant low here. Bunch of little chop here. I'm kind of curious. What about this? Market opens, goes lower. We do engulf. We bullishly engulf this, and then you could long there, stop there, TP there. Would have worked. It's pretty clean. Okay, let's see. So we had the 8:30 unemployment news, which caused a certain move. And now we have the 9:30. Let's see, do we have a clear bias? I mean, I guess bearish, but not really. Okay, we do get kind of a move higher, but it seems like the NQ likes to do this a lot. Right, we get a move higher, we get a move lower, then the open comes in. It's just far more volatile than the ES, right? So I think that that's the number one thing for me to get used to, is just like the increased volatility. So we slam way below overnight low, we take them out. Now the question is like, okay, do we want to look too long here? Do we want to actually be like, here's the range, and we want to go into the midpoint, right? Like, is that a thing? Is this a real thing? I'm gonna go ahead and say, you know what, it is a real thing, and I'm just gonna go for it. Jesus fucking Christ, what is this? Dude, come on. This is not good for your mental health. What? Okay, so we made a low and a higher low, higher low, higher low. Let's just see, just for the meme. Let's see like what happens if you try to add on. Okay, we didn't get that one. Yeah, but we did. Okay, so this did happen, right? This did work, and this is ridiculous, but it did work. Yeah. And so we do trade up into this hourly resistance. We're still just kind of chopping though. I don't really love longing. I don't love shorting. I don't really love trading this at all, actually. Don't really want to touch it. Hold on, what would the stop have been like here? Where did we long? Right there. Again, you need a little over one contract per 1,000. So to risk 100k, you would need like 110 contracts, which you probably could get, probably, most likely, without too much slippage. And so in the advantage here is basically, the advantage is this. if you look at this, you go indices, you go US 500.cash, say it's 0.6. Let's do 0.6 divided by that. That's the number. This one's 1.75. 1.75 divided by that. The spread on an absolute scale is like what, like a quarter less? Yeah, spread is 76%, so that's obviously better. But then you adjust for the fact that this shit is way more volatile, and then you realize that like 1.75 is actually very little here. Like this is already more than the spread, this tiny bit here. And because the market is so volatile, because it goes so crazy, like into your levels and out of your levels and everything, that means that it just doesn't affect your profitability that much. Like 1.75 here is, it's like, hold on, 1.75 is this. Like it just doesn't matter, right? And so compared to the ES where the spread is like a tenth or a fifth or something of your stop, here it's like a 30th or even less, you know? And so that's the reason to trade the NQ. It's literally just because like trading, the cost of trading is almost zero on the NQ because you're not paying commissions and the spread is really, really tight compared to, you know, like even if you were to long, let's say here, you get a 0.75, where's entry? Like it just doesn't matter. Your stop is 50. If you long here, what was it here? Your stop is 65. It just doesn't matter if you get 0.75, where's entry? And so that's the argument. That is the argument uh, for trading the shit. Then we just go sideways for the rest of the day. I mean, frankly, I think I would probably quit trading after this move. To be honest, I probably would. And so if we can get to a point where I'm specializing in just trading that initial move, even in the ES, it seems like that is the way to go for me personally right now. You know, only trading the first 2 hours or so. And so if that same strategy works on the NQ, there isn't necessarily that much reason not to trade the NQ just because the spread is so much tighter that, you know, you don't get screwed over as badly. It's like, we can just pull it up right now. We can just pull up the FDMO MetaTrader and we can just see how much better it is on the NQ compared to the ES. Then there's also the Dow Jones futures, of course, but I'm not quite sure about those. They're less liquid, far less liquid. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a little suspicious on the Dow Jones futures side of things. Hold on, this is slow as hell. Good. Hope that wasn't the open. No, it's not. It's only 1 minute before. Okay, it's Friday. Let's just knock this out. So we did take out Wednesday's lows. Oh, look, we had an inside day. Uh-huh. We had an inside day. That's worth noting. No real like good resistance levels higher. That's good to see. No real good support lower either. Just kind of whatever. Obviously that's gonna be the overnight high. Always mark it out, even if it seems kind of boring and stupid. And yeah, what's the structure right now? Well, clearly it's bearish, but if you look in the higher time frame of things, like if we get back above here, you might want to actually just look to long previous day's high. But right now it's pretty bearish, yeah. Okay, market opens. We probe lower, aggressive move higher. Let's see what happens. Aggressive move higher sticks. Sticks big time. Sticks and goes. There might just not be a trade here. We're running into this little resistance here, but it's pretty shit. I'm not really expecting it to hold, to be honest. We moon a little bit more. We pull back into here. The question is, do you want to be longing? Or is this really stupid? I feel like this is kind of stupid. I feel like it's going to pull back deeper, and then I'm going to be able to get a better trade. You could argue that we should be shorting here and targeting the middle of the range. But given how aggressively higher we traded and the fact that we have the bias from the inside day, I'm going to look to actually just long. And we do just take it out, yeah. So you could have longed the retest here, of course. I just didn't know if it was actually going to be that good. Clearly it was. If you were to long the retest here, it would be a pretty tight stop, but you know, high risk reward obviously because you have the daily bias. I feel like the NQ, maybe it's one of these markets where you just don't need to be as intelligent, you know? Like it's not necessarily about like really like getting the best entry. It's more about just being like, well, this is gonna fucking go. And like maybe the NQ is one of these markets where it really goes to the TP more aggressively, you know, like this. So it's like once you have the sort of initial bias of like this is gonna fucking go, isn't it? Then you just need to hold, right? So maybe it's less about the sort of yeah. But now like once you've had the initial aggressive move of the open, I just don't really want to be trading for the rest of the day, honestly, because I feel like at least in the ES it really seems like the time for big edge is sort of earlier in the day. Now with that said, I think probably you could be looking to short this and TP all of these equal lows here. That could be potentially interesting, so let's see. Does this look... No, this doesn't look particularly good anymore. I don't love it. 192 ticks for 497. Oh, you did get the retest. Oh. Is that... I mean, I still think it's good. It just looks awkward, but I still think it's good. Nope. That's funny, the actual original short idea would have, I guess, worked. Or not. Yeah, maybe I should just trade the first. Maybe I should just trade the first hour. You know what? I'm so curious now that I'm actually just gonna speed up and we're just gonna trade. We're just gonna see next week as well. So next week on the economic calendar we have practically nothing. Okay, this is Sunday's trading. Okay, let's wipe everything. Let's go on the daily. Previous week's Friday was an outside day, as we know. And yeah, there's like nothing here. We're like right in the middle of the range. There's actually like no edge. We're actually just gonna We're just gonna wait. So the market, oh shit, I'm still on the 5 minute. Market opens, chops, lower, pullback, chops. I mean, we're just in the middle of the range. Like, I don't have an edge here. Here you could potentially start to look too long, though. How stupid is that? I'm just thinking because we have this aggressive move lower. Let me just long this here. This is pretty tight. Pretty tight stop. 130 ticks. Here's the logic. Did go a little bit higher, but now we're back here. This does not this does not bode well. But I'll let it be. Nope. Well, you could definitely say high, lower, high, lower, high, lower, high, lower, high, like it's just making lower highs. And I mean, yeah, you'd be right. Let's go ahead and short this here. Let's see if we can. Is that so good anymore? Is there no other level for us to target? We can target like all did this sort of whole gap area. I think that's reasonable. Yeah. The question is, do we target even previous day's low? Yeah, we could have. Yeah, and so that's one of these things that I think I need to learn is I need to learn to just target like further out, especially probably on the NQ. It's probably gonna go because right now I was just like, okay, look at this. Like if you just look at this leg down here, you can see that there's this like gap here, and so you could target here or something. You see there's this low volume node, so you could target there. But I mean, on the NQ as well, like once it starts making lower highs like this consistently, I think it wants to low. I think it wants to low. Yeah. And so if this was the ES, like I would probably try to long like a retest at some point here, but I think perhaps this is the way. Perhaps this is the way. Perhaps trend following like this setups work better on the NQ, whereas the sort of quick mean reversion setups like this, perhaps these types of setups work a little bit better on the ES, you know? Okay, it would have worked here as well, but but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yeah, but I like this, right? I mean, this is what I've been like primarily trading in the ES. Is this sort of trend following setups where it's like once you see the market sort of quote unquote reveal its hand to you, then you enter the market and you target like the obvious target. I kind of like that. I kind of do. Okay, so anyways, let's just go until. Oop, went too far. Mm, yeah, we had sort of choppy day. Of course I went too far, whatever. I mean, there's no trade here. So market opens, trades aggressively lower into this support, takes out the overnight low. And here we have the overnight high. And this is kind of one of those spots where it's like, well, what do you even do? like there's no like I would of course once we close here, I would love to long here, stop here, but it just goes. It just goes straight away. And so it's like, what am I supposed to do now? Again, this is the kind of setup that I would like in the ES, but I just don't know if this is good for the NQ, just given how strongly it came up. Oh, oh, interesting. Okay, so we did actually get a pretty clean mean reversion setup there. Back into the middle of the range. Maybe I should trade the NQ, honestly. Maybe I should. No, you can see this is kind of looking a little bit bullish, although I don't like these two candles right here. I don't like. Mm, okay. Push layer, go sideways, and yeah. See, this is kind of an NQ thing. This reminds me of this yesterday. But it's like at this point we're already over an hour past the open, so I guess it does make sense that there isn't necessarily that much of an edge. Though to be fair, here I did short more than an hour after. But I mean, if we sort of start to think about trading the first 2 hours and we try to focus in on doing that and doing that well, that could be potentially interesting. I mean, the only argument for not doing this is no way it works twice in a row. And so when that's the only argument, I feel like you kind of do have to do it. That doesn't look right though. Yeah, I would definitely be canceling this shit. It looks like it's grinding higher. And yeah, again, high or low, higher low, higher low, higher low, even this held higher low. Yeah. Perhaps at some point you want to be starting to get long there. Target like that swing high. Because this is the NQ, you know. This is the NQ. So who knows, maybe it is going to go there. That's a tight stop. That is a tight stop. Nope. Yeah, but again, like this is kind of later on in the day. We could definitely say like first 2 hours is the best 2 hours. You could say that. You could say that. I'm just so curious. I'm so curious, and now that we are focusing on the first 2 hours, it's actually pretty fast to go through these days. Especially now that we have this 5 minute as well, we can actually make some progress. Anyways, I did want to show this. If you just have these two side by side. Jesus Christ. Okay. No, no, no. Yeah. Go. And then we put this side by side. You can see, I mean, this is even during, extended trading hours. But you can just see that because the spread on FTMO is the same, the spread is still 60, even during regular trading hours. Um, whereas maybe potentially this gets tighter, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can see just from the eye test here you just look at it, like you can see the spread on FTMO is fucking huge for ES500 or for the ES, and then for the NS, for NQ, like yeah, it's still there, but it's not that big. And if you think about the fact that there's no commissions, like you're not paying commissions on either one of these, that makes it even better, you know. Like just look at this. Like if you long this, you don't even get tagged in. If you long here, you do get tagged in because it goes past it by enough that the spread doesn't stop you. Like it doesn't look like a huge difference, but it makes a fuckload of a difference to your actual P&L and just to your ease of trading as well and everything. And so if you just compare the spread to like a volatile trading day, uh, like yesterday or something, if you just compare the spread, it's tiny compared to the moves. Yeah, the spread is absolutely tiny compared to the moves, and so that just means that, you know, it's just so much easier to be profitable. So that's the real reason why I'm even looking at this in the first place. But let's see if we can get a vibe check. Oh fuck! Did it start already? No. Okay, good. Yeah, that's the downside of doing this. Okay. Get rid of everything. This is not a good resistance level, actually, now that I think about it, so I don't like it. This daily swing is worth having on my chart, and that's pretty much it. Not really too many other levels, to be honest. Overnight high is that. Overnight low is this. Is there any good resistance here? I mean, yeah, kind of. Okay, let's see. Yeah, see, this is like an NQ special. This is something that doesn't happen on the ES, is having this much movement ahead of the open. And we have this huge move higher, attempt higher. We trade up into the resistance, start chopping a little bit. We're still just making higher lows. But I wouldn't really be longing like that hard into resistance. I suppose perhaps you could have this time. On the ES, I feel like this would have given you like a... And then you could have longed that. But maybe, I mean, maybe the NQ is one of those markets where it's like you really do just want to follow. Now we're at this resistance, but I mean, is it that good of a resistance when you have to zoom out that far to see it, and when we just blow through this? I'm gonna go ahead and test out my working theory, working hypothesis. The hypothesis basically being that when this market wants to go, it really wants to go, and so you can actually just like take the target and put the TP at the target and just, you know, just put the fries in the bag, you know. This is like a reasonable retest, but we do get stopped out. That's kind of what I wanted to do here. Here it worked, here it didn't work. I'm still expecting higher prices. We are retesting this from the downside. Is this a break higher? I'm gonna say this is a break higher. It's a really tight stop. didn't work, and we're basically done. Oh, that's the, yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is the low. This is far more confident. I know I know my strategy is to not trade after 2 losses for the day, but I really think that is. That is probably it. Do we want to be moving or stop yet? I think we do. Just massively reduce the risk, that's good. It really seems to me like the NQ has this lull period after the initial move. Like perhaps if you miss the initial move, you just shouldn't even try. I could honestly see that. Because it seems to me like Jesus, why don't we look this? It seems to me like after the first 2 hours after that initial like big aggressive move, it's actually pretty shit. Like it's just not that good. Although right now it is currently being pretty good. Yeah, the idea is just we're grinding higher at resistance, we're gonna pop it, and we're gonna take the daily swing high. Are we actually? I don't know, but we'll see. And wait, what's this? Oh, that's the close. Ah, that's the close. Interesting. It already closed earlier and then it popped it. It did pop it. It did pop. We do get the pop. We're down a little bit. Uh, Not very good there. But obviously this is not including the well, the Monday with the first 2 really good trades. What was it, the 16th? Yeah, this doesn't include oh no, not Monday, but Tuesday, because Monday was a bank holiday. Yeah, this doesn't include the Tuesday where we had aggressive move higher, lower, short the retest, and then short again into the middle of the, or long into the middle of the range. So that was, I don't know how many ticks you make here, but you make a good amount of ticks here. This was the target, perhaps. So that's like 143 handles. Isn't it $20 a handle? I think so. So that's like 2.8k. And this was like another 95, it's like another 2k-ish. Yeah. This was good. These 2 were both bad. I really do feel like perhaps, I don't know, perhaps you need to be going with the trend more and looking more at the, like, is this market making higher lows, higher highs type thing. I don't know, it seems to me like I don't really have much worse of an edge here than I do in the other ones. I mean, let's do one more day. Let's do one more day. I mean, if it could be that it's even a little bit better, that would be insane, Because I mean, I am mainly interested in trading the first move, the initial move. And so if the initial move on NQ is like even stronger, even cleaner than it is on the ES, then that could be potentially very interesting, given that the spreads are also better. That's like even better. Okay, so I mean, we did retest this. Like, structure is still bullish. Although we kind of do have this range here, which we are sitting in the very middle of. But we have a range, that's cool. Again, my intuition says that this is moving a lot pre-market, but it's just the NQ, so it's going to move a lot more. Yeah. Man, this market is crazy. Yeah, this is not a market that you're trading the first couple of minutes of. I can tell you that. So we have an aggressive move lower, and we chop a little bit, and then we're going lower, and we take out the swing low, which is also the overnight low. We tap into the FVG or whatever the fuck. Okay, we come up, we retest this. I really don't want to be shorting, but I also don't want to be longing. So we just wait. Wait and see. Would somebody want to be shorting this? No. The question is, where would you target? You would just target like the gap fill here. Perhaps even to like here. Okay, so going with this general theme that the NQ is fucking crazy and just once it goes, it really goes. Going with this general theme, we're gonna actually get in on a short and we're just gonna try to short for the gap fill. And we do get it. Okay, so I'm starting to get the feeling that perhaps on this market, even more so than in the ES, like yes, you need the overall hourly and daily levels, those help and the structure, but like once it starts to put in this consistent lower high, lower high, lower high, once it accepts low prices, like you just need to go for it, you just need to send it, right? Maybe. I mean, that could be interesting, could be potentially very interesting. But like, for example, that trade, like, what are we looking at? Yeah, 1.5k on one handle or on one slice. Yeah. Again, 2k contracts executed there. Could you have done 200 contracts for 200k risk, which is insane? Maybe. It's almost like the NQ is more liquid than the ES. I mean, is it? I don't know if it's gonna delete all of my trades if I switch away from it, but honestly, maybe it is. I don't know. But see, basically, no. After we've made this initial move, right? We've made our money. We've taken the high probability trade. Like I would be done for the day. I don't think I would be trading this. Like I don't think I would attempt to. You could try to long a retest here or something, but I mean, look at this. Like it's just so shit. And now it's already been like an hour of just this horrible sideways. Like you would have quit trading for the day here. You would absolutely quit trading for the day. I think perhaps the NQ, even more so than the ES, is one of those markets where it's really one idea per day. Like here, the idea was get long, get freaking long, and target the daily level. Yeah, but here you would have had to wait an hour and a half after the open for you to get your high probability setup. But I mean, I'm not interested in trading this at this point. Could you long this demand here or this support here back into the middle of the range? Sure you could, but I don't know. Doesn't really. Well, yeah, it would have worked, but but it just doesn't really seem like the kind of trade that perhaps you would take on. You do have an hourly inside bar here. I think that's pretty clean. So you could potentially even target this swing high if you're longing here, which is actually a really fantastic setup. But yeah, let's do one more day, one more, because I'm so curious. That this is really interesting to me because I didn't think that the NQ would be good. I thought it would be shit. Okay, so this is Friday. volatility, like during extended hours, I mean, the volatility just in general for the NQ is very, very high. It is very, very, very high. Okay. So the extended hours high is the same as that little range high. And then you have the range low there. Let's look on the daily. Yeah, nothing too interesting. Structurally, yeah, it looks bearish. We did have 8:30 news, PPI. This is potentially interesting here, but I'm not trading because it's not the open yet. You could potentially look to long this, TP. Back up in the middle of the range. Okay, a little bit higher, a little bit lower, higher. We're basically back in the middle of the range. I actually think it's a very good chance we go for these highs here. I think there's a really good chance we go for them. The question now is just like, where do we want to get long? Because we do want to get long. Do we want to try to go? Do we want to try to be a little conservative? Again, this is like one trade idea for the day. Is the range trade here? Man, this freaking chop is crazy. It's so aggressive. Yeah, could be that we're just wrong. And I mean, if we are, then perhaps it's worth. Oh, nice. I feel like that wouldn't have happened in the ES. To be honest, I feel like that wouldn't have happened in the ES. But well, now the question is there a setup, right? Like, is there actually any way to get in on this? I guess there was no initial move lower, right? Like we could have and should have waited for the initial move lower, and you could long the retest there. I guess I did actually just get greedy. Yeah, honestly, I feel like I actually just fucked it up. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, stop was too tight. Stop was just too tight. I guess I should have had it below here or something. We have the same crazy shit as before. Crazy chop. It's not really very confidence inspiring, but I still think that the target sort of is in and of itself like a reason to be holding. Although we do kind of trade up into some resistance here. I don't really love that. But I mean, it's not like I would be shorting. Would I be shorting? Now I'm getting second thoughts about trading this market instead of trading, the ES, the good market. I mean, what is this? Please, please, what is this? You could of course say, hey, look, we deviated range low. We should just be targeting the range midpoint. We should be targeting like here. That's fine, but I mean, I don't know. It's so ridiculous. I do feel like the NQ perhaps has more hostile price action than the ES, and this is why I was thinking about you should be trading this on the 5 minute instead of the 1 minute. Although it does seem to me like you could still probably do just fine trading this on the one. that's it. Pretty much nothing happened for the rest of the day. I kind of had the right idea for a while, but then it just didn't hit the TP. Surprisingly low volume day, or low range day. Again, here I should have held for the bigger move. That was fine, I got in too early there. That's probably a good time to use the hourly SR. Yeah, I don't know. The results here aren't too good, but I feel like the NQ probably is decently tradable. But it feels like the price action is more hostile. Like it feels like it's more sort of high risk, high reward. Where like if it's clean, it's going to really go in a way that the perhaps the ES doesn't. But if it's not clean, it will just completely wipe you out. Like it'll chop you to bits. Oh, this was the one. Hold on, 23rd of Feb. 23rd of Feb. That was the one that I should have held longer. Where I did TP it there, but I should have just TP'd at the low. I should have just been like, yeah, this is fucking bearish. Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of me long in range low. It's not really that good. There just wasn't a trade here. I honestly feel like perhaps on the NQ there are more zero trade days. That's pretty decent, although the chop is absurd. I feel like on the NQ there might be more zero trade days than there would be on the ES. Me shorting here is stupid. I mean, this is a rookie mistake. This amateur hour. Yeah. Again, like low, higher, low, higher, low, higher. Like it's actually just making higher lows. Like we actually do want to be long here. You could look too long like this candle. These longs were both pretty bad. Later on in the day, we already had big moves. Really, what you want to do is you want to be shorting that. This is also fine for like the return mean reversion. Yeah. Okay, interesting. I mean, yeah, that was definitely an interesting experiment.